I'm like, hey, this is being up this high at the year now. It's like, wow, it's really not that bad. Just being up this high.
All right, board members, we have everyone that will be in attendance when the gavel lets into session in about 30 seconds.
Can we, first order of business is to excuse Ann from the table, please?
Right, I'll do that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll entertain if someone wants to make a motion to excuse her.
Mm-hmm.
Good evening, everyone. This is the annual organizational meeting of the Buffalo Board of Education, and it is called to order. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. The purpose of this meeting is to elect a board president, a vice president for executive affairs, and a vice president for student achievement. There is one quick matter of housekeeping before we get nominations, and that is to excuse one of your fellow board members. Is there a nomination to do that from Board Member Shuda? Seconded by Mr. Hurd. All in favor?
Aye.
Member Dr. Ann Rivera is excused. Members of the board, the floor is now open for nominations for the office of president. Are there any nominations?
I would like to nominate.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Dr. Evans Brown is the second. General Counsel Scarpine, please call the roll.
Excuse me, I have to open up and see if there's any other nominations. You have to open it up to see if there's any other nominations.
I thought we would do that if we're not successful.
No,
Okay. Are there any other, then my apologies, please excuse me. Are there any other nominations for the office of president? All right. Now, thank you. General Counsel Scarpine, please call the roll.
Dr. Evans Brown?
Yes.
Board Member Hurd?
Yes.
Board Member McCutcheon? Yes. Board Member Makosi?
Yes.
Board Member Shuda?
Yes.
Board Member Scott?
Yes.
Board Member Woods?
Yes.
And Board Member Belton Cotman?
Yes.
All right.
And a yes is passed.
All right. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Would you join me here at the podium, please? Please raise your right hand on the right and repeat after me. I, Sharon Belton Cotner,
I, Sharon Belton Cotman,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the State of New York
that I will support the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of President
that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of President
for 2024 for the Buffalo Board of Education
for 2024 for the Buffalo Board of Education,
for the City of Buffalo,
City of New York,
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, congratulations. Please be seated here. Okay. Members of the board, the floor is now open for nominations for the office of Vice President of Executive Affairs. Are there any nominations? Saw Board Member Shuda.
I nominate Dr. Kathy Evans Brown.
All right, is there a second? All right, I see Mr. Scott first. Are there any other nominations? All right, seeing none, General Counsel, will you take the roll?
Dr. Evans Brown? Yes. You never know. Board Member Hurd.
Yes.
Board Member McCacken? Yes. Board Member McCosey?
Yes.
Board Member Shuta?
Yes.
Board Member Scott?
Yes.
Board Member Woods?
Yes.
And Board President Butler Hoffman.
Yes.
Right. Would you join
And a
me?
unanimous vote to,
Yes.
for the yeses.
All right, thank you. Would you join me at the podium? Dr. Evans Brown. I, Dr. Kathy Evans Brown,
I, Dr. Kathy Evans Brown,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the State of New York
that I will support the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the Office of Vice President of Executive
the
Affairs
duties of the Office of Vice President of the Executive Affairs
for 2024 for the Buffalo Board of Education
for 2024, the Board of Education
of the City of Buffalo,
of the City of Buffalo,
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. All right, send me out, please. All right, congratulations. Members of the board, the floor is now open for nominations for the office of Vice President of Student Achievement. Are there any nominations? I saw Board Member McCosey.
I nominate Board Member Scott.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Dr. Evans Brown has the second. General Counsel, will you call the roll? Oh, I'm sorry. Are there any other nominations? All right, seeing none, General Counsel, go ahead. Thank you.
Dr. Evans Brown?
Yes.
Board Member Hurd?
Yes.
Board Member McCacken? Yes. Board Member McCosey?
Yes.
Board Member Shuta?
Yes.
Board Member Scott?
Yes.
Board Member Woods?
Yes.
And Board President Butler Hoffman.
Yes.
All right.
It has,
And it has, I apologize, it is passed unanimously.
All right,
Yes.
very good. Mr. Scott, will you join me at the podium, please? I, Mr. Larry Scott, Mr. Lawrence Scott, excuse me,
I, Mr. Lawrence Scott,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the State of New York,
that I will support the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of Vice President of Student Achievement
of the Office of Vice President of Student Achievement
for 2024 for the Buffalo Board of Education
for 2024 for the Buffalo Board of Education
of the City of Buffalo,
of the City of Buffalo,
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability.
so help me
So help me God.
so traditionally, I would make a statement. I'd just like to say, I want to thank each and every one of the board members for their votes. I think that it shows the wisdom of this board to keep continuity in what we're in the process of trying to unravel for our district. It certainly reflects that we are putting children first as far as our scope of reference, and in moving forward, there is room at this table for everyone, and it always has been. The ideas that you may have, if you want to work with the board to do them, I certainly am available to help you. However, you cannot function as a lone wolf. That is not how the board operates. And so in moving forward, we want to make sure that the board agrees on the things that we're going to be doing and moving forward to get to the next step. The Council of Great City Schools, I would like for this record to reflect how many people have signed up to receive additional training. Would you guys please tell me who signed up? You have Cindy, Jennifer, Paulette, and board member Macuzzi. So you have Macuzzi, Brown, Cindy, and Woods. That is a noble effort. I took the course. It's still 9 months. It's a lot of work involved in it, a lot of teamwork. At the end of that, your scope of reference will change, and you will start reflecting on every decision that's made. How does it impact children? And certainly today, this is the beginning of it. What we have decided, or what I have asked, is that in moving forward, the executive team will meet this week to put down some sort of a framework and have an idea of where we are going to the next level as far as this year is concerned. From there, my expectations are that we will meet with the superintendent to go over what our concerns, what we want to do, and make sure it's in alignment with what she wants to do, and then bring it back to the board at the next executive affairs meeting, if everyone is in agreement with that. Is there anything that anyone would like to say at this point? The table is open.
I would just add 3 things that, you know, as the Vice President of Student Achievement, it's an utmost priority to focus on student outcomes, as we've been emphasizing with our training of Council of Great City Schools. And also, I really want to see us engage in those community engagement meetings throughout the city. I think that needs to become a priority moving into this new year for all of us. And, you know, lastly, in our last retreat with the Council of Great City Schools, we talked about our committee structures and going on a committee diet. And I am going to be looking at our bylaws, our committees, and how they are operating, and at some point likely having a discussion about our committee structure and maybe some proposed changes in one of our work sessions.
Should I high-five you now or wait?
I would wait. Let's
Okay,
wait.
all right, I'll wait.
Cindy, how do you see the work going this year for what you're doing with the implementation team?
Oh, I'm excited. There's 4 of us that are going to be embarking down this year-long journey. And on top of that, we have a rigorous schedule. Implementation team is in full swing. We meet monthly, and we are ready to kick off the new year. I believe we meet this Friday, actually. So we are truly kicking off the new year in stride. And to board member Scott's point, one of the first orders of business that we'll be going through, the implementation team will be tackling, is getting an understanding of the community meetings, when it looks at script and all of that stuff, and then bringing that back to the full board, and then drawing consideration for locations and times and dates and all of that fun stuff. So we're pretty excited to move forward with that and get us on par. So there's lots of fun things that we'll be accomplishing over the course of the year.
And to add, with the Council of Great City Schools, we have an exciting journey with the book study. And so we touch bases with every facet of our stakeholders, including parents, including professionals, including, you know, day-to-day people who have been invited to at least join us on 2 sessions, one in January and one in February, I believe. So we're excited about that. I see you got your first yay from Mr. Laurie.
Yes, I have a few RSVPs. Some are trickling in. They're sending me text responses.
So I think that's going to be a segue to the community meetings that Vice President Lawrence Scott mentioned. That's going to be really critical to this board and to the kids of this district.
Anyone else like to share anything that they'd like to see moving forward? Like when we're at the table, or you want to wait?
I would like to see that we do a real genuine deep dive into each other's skill sets, because I feel like we don't really operate within our skill sets, and this table is just chock full of different just connections and communication. Buffalo is one big living room, and we all know the same people, and who do we talk to, and how can we even think about moving this district forward if we don't take advantage of all of our relationships as a whole, instead of trying to do things individually and in silos. And, you know, our skill sets are plenty, so how can we help move things along?
So I'd love to have that conversation with you, how you propose to move forward with that.
as a facilitator, that is my skill set, and I would love to have that with you. Thank you.
That's fine with me. I look forward to that. Would also like to, I'm sorry, Tiff, go
I
ahead.
just have a question about the executive team. How will those priorities that you're going to present to the superintendent be brought to your attention? Is there going to be an avenue of where different board members can give?
Absolutely.
In like, what's that gonna look like? That's my question, because I know that, like how, like what mechanism are we going to have for framework to make sure that people have their voices heard?
I think initially, how I envision it is that we will be talking as the executive team just about the things that are already currently existing in our district, no new things. As new things are added on, then I think that's where we would definitely bring on and meet the board to have the board opinion. My concern always is anytime anything is happening and the board is not involved in it, you know, you'll hear about it, like at church on Sunday, or at the, yesterday at the City Common Council event, you'll hear about it. So the key there is to make sure that the board is always informed. And that's the purpose for the executive session committee, to make sure that things are discussed before they move forward. Always, nothing should be discussed outside of the board without the board first being talked about, talked to with the board, especially things that deal with federal guidelines, that deal with things that ultimately can impact our constituents. These are conversations that has to happen with the board prior to any actions being moving forward. And that has to be clear. I'm also concerned about making sure that legal takes more of a stand this year in dealing with things that are happening. We have to make sure that everyone stays in their lane, and legal has to be brought to the table when we are dealing with certain things, first and foremost, because that's exactly where it's going back. If you saw when we did the Council of Great City Schools, when we started talking about the policies, et cetera, had we had legal involved in that part, you know, it would have saved us some time on that. When we start talking about changing policies, doing changes in procedures, we have to get legal involved. When we start talking about a lot of things, legal has to be brought to the table. And then the board has to be informed about it, because you cannot move forward if the board is not in favor of it. And we cannot move forward without having the board involved and knowing what's going on. So we want to tighten that up a little bit. I think it may have got a little bit loose in the process because we had a transitioning was happening. And you know how it is when you go on vacation, how that last day is, and so you ought to know how it is when you're about to leave a position. Some things may fall off the table. I will share with you that I did have the opportunity yesterday to talk and introduce myself to Letitia, our Attorney General for New York State. I'm sure I made an impression on her. I have extensive sales experience, and I know that you have 2 minutes when you meet someone to capture them and get them to remember who you are, so that in the future you can have an additional conversation. I feel I did that very well yesterday at the Common Council hearing, and she is interested in hearing what we have to say about what's going on with athletics and throughout the entire state. So that was a big jump. See, originally trying to figure out how do you get to her. Guess what? Sitting in front of you, you just go and introduce. That's what true leadership is about. You take the opportunity to make things happen on behalf of things. And that's after the conversation that we had already had about what we were talking about moving forward. Because I reached out we had a conversation about that, probably about right around what happened with Syracuse. So we're moving forward with things like that. Yes?
I am concerned about the issues of safety and violence in our schools. I hate the fact that we are getting black eyes because of some of the incidences that are happening. And I have said to the superintendent, and I'm sending an email to all of the board, that there are 4 different community groups that have programs such as aggression reduction training, our children will learn how to handle aggression. There's a group that presented at our last board meeting that wants to give the children mental health coping skills. There's another group that wants to work with our board and our Board of Education to give the children moral option training so that they will make choices, because it's got to be in their heart, that give them civics and moral just awareness, so they would make decisions not to hurt another person. I believe the answer for remaking our schools and addressing violence is the partnership, and we make education, so we are partnering with the community, and that's going to be one of my focuses, because we're not going to change the violence if we don't empower the parents and the kids to do better.
Well, I'm certainly glad to hear you brought the parent piece of that. Yes, Mr. Hurd.
Feeding off of that, I'm involved with community leaders, community programs, and looking at avenues and ways that this district can work with our community, because community are us. It's where our kids come from. That's where we are. We live in the city and have to take control and having an understanding of the elements that our children are dealing with in today's times. And that's with us working with not only law enforcement, but working with judges and attorneys that resides here in Buffalo to continue that path and trying to find avenues, because if we don't act now, our kids are going to be in these courtrooms, they're going to be in these jail cells for things that we can have help prevent it, the elements in which they live in, and things in their lives, they have no control over. But as an educational institute, some people say that, we're supposed to teach and educate, but also it's the other side that I spend a lot of time on working with is trying to find with mental health and working with these agencies to try to promote wellness, within their families. So the whole home concept is very important. We have to continue with those goals and work with the superintendent of the district to maintain our classrooms. It's safe behaviors.
Thank you. So, as our minds clear, so we certainly have a slate of things that we will be addressing and moving forward. I would like to go on record to say that as it currently stands, I feel that the superintendent has done and the district at large has done a great job in setting up various committees to address issues. You have the mental health committee, you have the that meet monthly, you have different things. However, the compendium I don't feel is currently working as it should be. There was a opportunity for principals to come out and meet vendors who could provide support for their schools, and there were very few principals that showed up. And so, as a board member, I think you have to, have a conversation with your principal about making sure that they're maximizing and utilizing the resources that have put themselves forward. I'd like to share, I got a text last week from the principal at Burgard, Mr. Johnson, where I guess he saw a home ownership seminar at Bennett, and he's doing it this week to try to bring his families in to do things. So once the community feels, or they feel that the principals are engaging them and involved, we can move to the next level. But I just would like to put that out only because people may be listening, and it was a short notice as far as that is concerned. Yes, Chair.
I would say, though, if you're looking at something that we set up and one principal showed up, there had to be a problem with communication or really explaining of what it was. And so the scheduling and, did the ASLs, what was their role in conveying that? Because it's something that would help a school and that was conveyed properly, principals would have been there. I just feel like there was a negative stance that principals don't care and they didn't show up. And I think that there was something probably in the message.
And we need to take a look at that, because if the resources are going out, and we need to, it's one thing to have a meeting. Say you can have a community meeting all day long. One person shows up. That's not a community meeting, okay? One person shows up. I'm sorry, it's not, okay? two people. That's not. You're talking about a district. So we need to make sure anything that we do moving forward, that we maximize the opportunity for our parents.
I believe it was
community.
17 vendors that showed up.
I was there that day. I attended.
The vendors showed up.
I attended. I was well aware of what was going on.
During the day or
It was in the evening after school, and, you know, during after school time, okay, so that may have been an issue because, you know, we have the extended learning, so, you know, but what I also felt was that these people exist in the book, and they're offering resources. Oftentimes, we need to make sure that the doors are open for, and people are receptive to something different. Yes, Jennifer? And then Cindy.
So we have established that communication is an issue. And if we're gonna be the ones at this board table to bring these things out to the public or talk to our principals or make sure that they're there, we have to know, and we have to have as a board, this is what we're trying to bring out to the principals, this is what we're doing, that has to be sent to us too. Because not everybody is always on email or not everybody is always in communication. Many of us work 2 and 3 jobs. Like the communication has to start somewhere. So I coordinate events for a living. This is what I mean by skill
We
sets.
have someone who does that. You can work with.
This is what I mean, connect
communication.
us with these people so that we can help the district without overstepping, without, you know, overstepping our governance role and being that assist. That's the skill sets I'm talking about. So I just want to point out we have a clear example right here, and
Yeah, but I want to point out that the way I found out about that meeting is because I was going to find out about the sports. There was a meeting about sports there that day. And so I came for that sports reason. I didn't come, and then I saw all the vendors out there. So my focus was on one thing, and then something else was going on. So with that said, if we got a good start out?
All right, so, board members, the business of the meeting has been concluded. Is there a motion to adjourn?
right here.
All right, so Cozy and then Board Member Woods, and a second. All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I wanted to meet, I thought I would meet with. And get
I'm perfect too.
Hey, Alex, do you remember me? Congratulations. Remember you came over and met me? Remember when I went down the school? Anyway, you get so calm.
Do you need some more of these?
I didn't use up